We like to deal in facts here, and today we got some proof of what these soft on crime policies are doing. A new study by Wallet Hub shows murder rates in big cities have soared more than 10% in the past 2 years. And no surprise, the top 5 cities are home to Democratic mayors with soft on crime policies. Look at this research found Memphis, New Orleans, Richmond, Virginia, Washington, D.C., and Detroit have the highest murder rates. Also on that list, Philly, Atlanta, Kansas City, Missouri. When we looked at that list this morning, we realized that those are all places our own Brian Entin has visited to find out what it's like dealing with crime in cities where police, in many cases, have their hands tied by these policies and by these prosecutors. And he joins us now. And I'm sad to say, Brian, it doesn't say in the teleprompter where you're at. And what I think is interesting is that there are so many cities in America that you could be in, number one, and number two, your backdrop that it looks so sort of daunting and forbidding and crime-ridden is the one you're standing in front of.
Yeah, you know, we're actually in Miami, Leland, which is interesting. I mean, they've got crime problems here, but nothing like in other places around the country. And you mentioned it. I mean, when this new list came out this morning from Wallet Hub, and it was a really intense study that they did. We don't get these numbers a lot because the FBI doesn't release nationwide numbers as often. When I went through the list, I thought the same thing you did. These are cities that we have visited on Leland's show over the last year or so, looking at the crime problems. And when you look at the stats, you just don't really get a feel for what's really going on in these cities. So we wanted to give you a little bit of a refresher and remind you of what it was like when we visited these places. In just a few hours out with Kansas City, Missouri police, it was nonstop. A police chase involving a man armed with a gun.
Sir, you doing all right?
Several drug overdoses. Another guy walking with a gun on the street. And a person shot twice in front of a house.
What would you say are the biggest challenges for officers out here right now?
Morale is definitely something that is a big issue here, just because with low manpower, not having, you know, enough officers out here, and you have officers that are, you know, going from call to call to call, and it wears on these officers, you know.
When we were in Atlanta, it was a similar scene.
Pit maneuver, successful, 1050 into the wall.
One night out with Georgia State Patrol, and things got wild. We had to do the pit maneuver to stop one suspect trying to get away. Troopers say many who run are shooting and murder suspects.
So we've been with you guys for about an hour. I mean, is this normal for a Thursday night? Already like 2 chases, 2 pits?
Unfortunately, yes. The crime in this area is on the rise.
So this is the memorial here.
Oh, okay. Can we walk over there, you think?
Yeah.
In Philadelphia, in the Kensington neighborhood.
So she was shot and killed a couple months ago.
Almost every block has a memorial for a gunshot victim.
That case is still unsolved too.
The community activist we walked around with in Philly carries a tourniquet to help gunshot victims.
The tourniquet, I just used one last Thursday. I was at the hair salon getting my hair done, and there was a shooting. And yeah.
I mean, you have to walk around with a tourniquet. That's sort of
I
startling.
know, right? It's like, it's not normal.
So you can see, Leland, you know, when the numbers came out, really no surprise to us because we've been in the cities doing these stories on your show. Yeah. And what's interesting is the national numbers are out, but the police chiefs normally don't want to talk about the crime problem in their cities because they feel like it makes the city look bad. The mayors don't want the chiefs to talk. Only in Kansas City, when we were there, did the police chief actually talk to us on camera, and we later found out he was actually going to be retiring in a couple of months. Leland?
All right, Brian Entin with his reporting. And one of the great parts about Brian's reporting is it comes not only from talking to the police chiefs and others, but also from talking to so many of the police officers that he rode with that informed what you just heard. Obviously, a story Brian will unfortunately have to keep covering. Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.